Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Make It Epic Wedding Podcast. Matt, how you been, mate?
G'day, Tim. I have been pretty bloody good. Things are quietening down a little bit. I am ticking some boxes on my end.
Some
a bit of the
exciting
BTS kind of stuff, which is exciting.
Happening on your end.
There's a lot happening, and maybe by the time this episode's out, I will have shared some of them. But I'm just going to wait. I'm going to hold off.
You're going to hold off on dropping some nuggets.
Not going to share.
Fair enough.
Dropping some nuggets, not too soon. But anyway, what's happening on your end, mate? How you going? Tell us things.
I am being good, mate. I've just been stuck in the editing cave, just creating epic stories and getting stuff done. I've started to just really put a focus on how I can best utilize a bit of downtime in winter, focus on a bit of the business, and just make sure that everything I'm doing, I'm providing the best experience for my couples, but also having to think about what is next year going to look like as well, and just making sure I've got time for me, time for the projects I want to work on, time for couples, time for family, and just doing things and limiting burnout, mate. That was a lot. I feel like that was a lot, but
that was a lot. That was good, but I feel like, me and you were the same. Even with the podcast, there's a lot of things we want to do with it. There's a lot of, we've got a lot of fingers in our pies. We want to work out what we're doing, and it's exciting. We're keen as obviously not going to drop it soon because we're still working it all out. But that's what for us winter is for.
That's it. And there's some quick little wins. We've had a couple of people, couple of brides, a few grooms just jump on and just say how helpful some of the smack that we're talking is actually helping them on their wedding day. Who would have thought?
Yeah, absolutely. I know, right? And actually, I want to read. We got a review from somebody, and this is probably going to lead into a little bit of what we're going to talk about next.
I don't see. Here's
a review.
So this is the first time I'm listening.
I know because all right. So I don't think I've shared this one with you because you don't go onto Apple Podcast and have a look at it. But it's 5 stars, and it says, since learning about this podcast, I have listened every day. These guys are a massive bucket of fun and have made the daunting task of wedding planning seem achievable. Absolute must for all things weddings. I tells you what, if that doesn't bring a bloody smile to your face, I don't know what would, mate. I'm pretty excited about that, and yeah, wow, I'm a bit speechless.
Who wrote that one?
Cool.
Who wrote that one? Is there a name?
There's no name. Well, it's Higgledy Piggledy. Is it? Oh no.
What?
I actually just got out of it, so I'm just pretending hang on, I'm going back. Madam Damon, Damin.
Okay.
Anyway,
right, well,
don't know who it is.
If you wrote that
if it was
review,
you,
reach out.
We
want to give you something. We want to give you something. Maybe a sticker. We're getting some stickers made up.
Maybe a prize.
Stickers.
We'll send you a little sticker pack. How good. Maybe we should. Maybe I don't know what it is, but maybe this is leading into what I was going to say before we jump into today's episode, because today's episode is lit. I am so excited by the man that we have coming on. But before we jump into that, if you guys are loving what you're hearing, we obviously are getting pretty excited by some people leaving us some reviews. If you want to leave us a review, we would absolutely love it. If you do, maybe me and Tim will come up with something over the next couple of weeks to kind of
make it worth your
give
while.
Away. Yeah, a bit of a prize for you guys because we love to hear from you. So yeah, maybe jump over to Apple Podcasts, leave a review. That seems to be the best place these days to kind of type a bit of a review and leave a message for us. But also feel free to reach out to us at any time on our socials and have a bit of a chat, because I actually had someone reach out to me this week, Tim, which was pretty cool. It was another photographer, and she just wanted to ask a few questions as to how we do things, the way we do things. And I just loved it. We jumped on a Zoom call. We had a bit of a chat. And it was really cool just to connect with people that will obviously listen to the podcast and wanted to know maybe a little bit more in depth as to how we're doing some things. Or, it might be a couple that reach out to us on our Instagram account that are just hey, how do I make my day better? Or how can I get to cocktail hour? These are my plans. Or, it is exciting.
Absolutely love it. And we do share a story today about a message I got from one of my couples that has completely changed her run sheet, completely changed her ceremony time to actually spend some time during canapes, and that has brought such a massive smile to my face, because I know they've done that because they want to like elevate their wedding experience. They want to have the most epic time, and that would not have happened if they didn't listen to the smack that we're talking.
That's it. So I guess maybe today, if you haven't read the title already, we are talking to the one and only Henry from Henry Clive Caravan Bar, or soon to be Henry Clive Bar. They are doing a bit of a rebrand, and this guy is an absolute legend. He is definitely passionate about the wedding industry. He's also very passionate about his cocktails, which is bloody amazing.
Wedding experience. So this goes far beyond. I think when we're bringing on Henry to talk about like his bar, and the service that he offers, it's not just a service. Like it's actually an experience that he does offers, and we've done so many weddings with Henry Clive. We know what they like, we know what experience and what type of value that they bring to their clients, and they just bring a vibe that is unmatched.
Absolutely. And he is, as we said, very passionate and has a wealth of knowledge and experience now with the wedding industry. These guys are pumping through a heck of a lot of weddings per year. But, even though they are pumping through a lot of these weddings, they have a lot of people behind them to help make each wedding memorable and that experience absolutely amazing for each couple. So, look, definitely listen to today's episode. Get some goodness out of it, and maybe at the end of it, you might want to go back and really think about, the ways you can get to Cocktail Hour, which we have done an episode a couple of weeks ago. So maybe go back and have a listen to that. I am quickly trying to look to see what number that is. I think it's episode number 34. So go back, have a listen to that. 3 reasons to prioritize Cocktail Hour. Anyway, let's talk to the man himself, Henry from Henry Clive Bar.
Henry, mate, welcome to the show. Good to have you on here.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's make it epic.
Look at him go. He's on porn.
As he sips his wine.
With
a little bit of wine.
With his giant wine glasses the size of his head. He's preparing himself for his European adventure that he's going on next week that he was just telling us about. What a guy.
Oh. I know, Monday. Can't come around quick enough, I tell you.
Living the dream. Mate, we're so excited to have you on today and talk a little bit about alcohol and all that goodness that comes along with it when it comes to a wedding. But before we dive in and we find out more about you and what you and your team do, we're going to throw you under the bus a little bit and do a bit of a quick fire question. Don't overthink it. Whatever comes into your mind first is the answer, okay? All right, you ready?
Eyes closed, or?
Yeah. So, coffee before 5 p.m. Yes or no?
Yes.
Perfect.
Favorite cocktail?
Yeah. I'd have to say Amaretto Sour or French Martini or Margie. Fuck, I've got 3 of this. Amaretto Sour.
Expected from you, mate. What music are you listening to at the moment that you're really digging?
There's a band called the Polymics. They're up and coming. They're from Sydney. They're absolutely amazing. Like, her voice is just incredible. The way that the band plays together as a team, and they've got they're so small, so no one knows about them. So they're just up and coming.
Polymics. I'm gonna have to write that one down. That sounds interesting.
Sick.
Yeah.
I like a new little dig to be able to listen to. That's ideal.
And mate, what's the most memorable piece of advice you have gotten in your life?
I don't know who would have given it to me, but all I can every time that we face something, whether it's good, bad, whatever it is, for me, it's just give it a go. And if you're going to give it a go, give it 100% or give it nothing. And if you're going to give it nothing, let it go. If you're going to give it 100%, don't stop until you're dead. Which is sometimes good and sometimes
go
bad.
hard or go home. Love it.
Yeah.
This is very on point for what we just kind of started this chat with. So, if you could go anywhere tomorrow in the entire world, where would it be?
I know Europe's coming up, but I would have to say America when the NBA finals are on.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
That's good.
I just think it's got a different sort of vibe.
Yeah,
or somewhere yeah.
How good. And
Sick.
if you were to buy an exotic pet, what would it be?
Oh, peacock for sure, but I don't know if they're exotic.
Oh,
Yeah, they're pretty exotic. I don't know.
They're pretty, yeah.
Unless you go to the woods farm and you can just pick one up. I don't know.
It's pretty funny because, like Sarah, my partner, fiance, she's like, "All right, what do you want at the wedding?" And I'm pretty cruisy. Like she's a event coordinator. I'm the bar side of things, so I've got the bar covered. She's got the whole wedding sorted. But she's like, "What do you want?" And there's a couple of things that I want, and they're pretty tacky, but they stand out pretty different. So I want like an ice sculpture of two doves kissing, so like a love heart, and then tails floating out. And then to get the dance floor started, you can pour vodka down, and it goes down, out, and that's how everyone has a shot and then gets on the dance floor.
that's wicked.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. Even though it's dove, corny, kissing, weird, love heart thing, that's okay. Like, I'll still give it to you with the ending.
But back to my point, the peacock. I actually want peacocks roaming around because I think they're just so beautiful. Like, and you're right, at the woods farm, it just adds such a different sort of, contribution to your wedding. But yeah, obviously we're not going to. Yeah, get peacocks.
Maybe after this you're going to go and buy a peacock. Who knows, Sarah, if you're listening. How good. Oh, mate, I'm as I said, we're super excited to have you, and we're keen as to find out a little bit more about you and what you guys do. So maybe just tell us who Henry Clive is and what you do.
Yeah, so good question. Who is Henry Clive? We're still trying to figure out who Henry Clive is. The name actually originated from the previous owners, and their grandparents, one was Henry, one was Clive. That's where the name started, and then we bought the business nearly 2 years ago. 2 years and a bit. And yeah, so it just happens to be that my name's Henry, so everyone's like, "Are you Henry Clive?" And sometimes it's easy to say, "Yes, I am," instead of the whole story. Just go, yeah. But so Freddie, my younger brother, who is one of the business owners, and my older brother Scotty, they bought into the business. And then I jumped on a little bit later with myself, and then also Greg, who's our father. So there's four of us. So the three brothers, and then my father as well. Pretty interesting story because we've all had hospitality backgrounds. We all love hospitality. And when we had the opportunity to buy the business, it had about 30 to 40 weddings. And then, I think the next year we grew it to about 200 weddings. And the year after that was about 500 to 550 weddings and events. And then, so this year we're looking to just keep growing and growing. But what makes Henry Clive so special is the team and being able to create a home and a culture for people. And you guys have seen us in action as well. Like, we do love what we do, and not just, confidently I can say that it's not just us, it's also our team as well. They want to get involved, they want to have fun. So for us to be able to create a home and a culture and have Henry Clive there is really, really awesome.
Mate, you have, like, it's actually astonishing when you say that you've only been in business for like 2 and a bit years, because like you've got like such a presence, and I think like anyone that's like done a few weddings around like the South Coast, Southern Highlands, like they know just how much of a presence like Henry Clive actually has, and the like how much you guys do like elevate a wedding in the services that you do offer. And we've done dozens and dozens of weddings together, and it's always just like so good. Like you bring a vibe, like you bring a certain entertainment to a service which is typically not necessarily like known from bringing entertainment. But mate, well done on that. Like from 30, 40 weddings to 200, like that is no easy feat.
To 500.
Yeah, even more.
Yeah, there was wild, right? Like, yeah. And talking about like, your family, your connection, your vibe that you guys do bring, like you as a team definitely have a very certain or specific kind of like crew that come and like work for you guys, right? Like, was that always kind of like your plan? I know it sounds very strange, like, but you like when it comes to like, you guys have a very specific crew that do work for you, right?
Like, it's definitely on brand.
Yeah. It's a good one. As I say, like, you want to create that home, which then creates that culture. And then that, if you allow people to be their best, they're going to deliver their best. And it's a bit like anything in a wedding as well. Like, you could send someone to a wedding, right? And if, someone's honing down on them over no reason, they're not going to be their best. But if you allow them to grow and nurture and flower and flourish, they're going to give you their best. It's very, very simple. So, we've all had shit bosses in the past, let's be honest, we have, and that's the reason why we start our own business, or because of a passion and so on as well. So it's like, we don't want to be another shit boss. we want to make sure that we have a great place, and it really trickles down. We're very, very proud that last year we won Best Mobile Bar in New South Wales, and then we topped it off by winning Best Mobile Bar in Australia as well. But that can't be done. There's us, but that can't be done without the team. So we've got a big team of about 60 people. It's grown from 5 people, 6 people, whatever it was, to 60 people. So without the team, there's no us. There is no Henry
That is
Clive.
amazing. You've definitely created a culture that just cultivates just such an easy going vibe. I know there's a couple of weddings that come to mind, and it's 35, 40 degrees, and I've got my camera and I'm moving stuff, and there's been a couple of times if staff are like, "Here, man, have a beer," as I'm shuffling my tripods to the reception. I'm absolute legends, love this.
Yeah.
It's there's always a good vibe around, and I feel like even saying that as well. Recently, I probably haven't done a wedding, especially down on the coast, that you guys haven't been the bar that have been a part of it, which is pretty wild when you think about the sheer number of weddings that we're all doing. It's pretty cool, and it's always exciting whenever we see your name on the run sheet for sure.
I do have a question in terms of so you started 2.5 years ago. So what was your branding as you came as you came into the industry? Did you have some marketing experience? Was it just about networking and getting involved with the South Coast community? Because it's growing quite quickly, very quickly. And just wondering what are some of the marketing tactics and strategies that you've actually used to be able to do that?
I must admit, Jess and Brent, the previous owners, they got that off the ground running. And the weddings starting, they've got small young kids as well, so the business was starting to get a bit out of their hands. So then that's when they started to look at, passing the business on, and they wanted to pass it on to someone they could trust. Freddie was working in the business prior to that, just on the weekends, and I would come down and work with Freddie because it was the only time I could spend time with him, because I was, Monday to Friday up in Canberra. So they got the ball going, and we came in. So Greg, who is our father, who is pretty much oversees Henry Clive, he's got a background. So his last role was head of export for liquor for Coles. So massive company, obviously Coles is. So he brings in that knowledge of strategy, marketing, structure, operational through that. And you've got Scott. So he was a business owner in Canberra, Asahi Brothers, so hospitality. So obviously it was a smaller business, but same thing, just on a different sort of scale. Freddie, he's a bit of a cocktail master. So he was working at the Siebel and a couple other different bars and so on. And he's got all this knowledge in terms of the liquor and cocktails. And just one thing that I'm very, very happy about is we're all people that put our hands out first. So always there to shake hands and say hello. And I think that really passes on. So to put all those brains in together and build a team that we have and do what we do, that's where it sort of started and rolled. We all love saying hello to people, and then we're like, okay, well, we enjoy it. We're back home finally after I think it was 7 or 8 years, all of us back home working together, which is pretty crazy. So it was a bit of a homecoming. So we've just gone out to knock it out.
And that's what you've done.
Wow.
Amazing. Well done.
Literally, you guys, yeah. And it's cool to hear that you guys all got I guess areas of expertise, but individually you're all come together and created this amazing brand, but also just the service that you guys give. And I know I feel all day today we will talk about the service that you give, purely because it is different to any other, I guess, caravan bar that we kind of typically work with on a regular basis, which is amazing. And maybe let's just roll through a little bit and maybe just talk to us about obviously you have it you started off as a caravan bar, right? That was kind of your main thing. And obviously it's for us, we know it's quite different to that now. And if some people saw, oh, they're a caravan bar, it's not just that. So maybe just talk through us what you guys, I guess, do and offer on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy. Obviously we started out, we had a caravan bar and we had 2 bars. We had a white timber and we had a metal press. And quite quickly we realised that we need a few more bars. So now we've got one caravan, and then we've got 12 portable bars as well. So it's gone just from, pretty much 3 items at weddings, and then now it's up to 12. So, and the reason why we've had to do that and grow is because, smashing out, 9, 10 weddings on a Saturday night in one night. So, you've got different bars going everywhere. But it's really, really proud to think about it and go, when we look back, Freddie was washing up the glasses in his kitchen sink at home. All the bars and stuff were downstairs in his garage in his apartment. And, he really pushed that time. And then now we're, as I was talking to you guys before, earlier before we started the podcast, we've moved into a warehouse in Berry. We've gone from our old warehouse, 125 square metres, to 450, and it's starting to grow and really taking place. So it's more than just Henry Clive Caravan Bar, which now we're about to do a rebrand and go into Henry Clive Bar. And because we are more than just a caravan bar, as you guys know. So when people see Henry Clive Caravan Bar, they think just one wedding, happy days. But, our goal in the wedding scene isn't to do as many as we can, but to make sure that we can grow, keep that quality. But, when you grow, there's opportunities for people in the community to get jobs. Like, I had to move away and I started working for Qantas, and the reason why I did is because there was no jobs around here, 8 years ago. So that's what we want to do as we keep growing, not just build more bars, do more weddings, but create opportunities for people so they can go, you know what, 6 months, 2 years, whatever it is, I can join these guys and work with them.
Yeah, amazing.
So
it's one thing about like working in like with such like a tight knit like community aspect of like wedding vendors as well, is like it's so much more of like community over competition like than it is anything else. And like we just had an event like last week, which was amazing, right? And it just like brings in like such like a good reason to see why like we love this industry so much, like because every wedding vendor like is really willing to bring themselves in, like spend their time, like their own money, to be able to contribute to the community.
Yeah, I agree. And Matt, Tim, as you guys know as well, like it is a family down here on the South Coast with all the vendors together. Like and the industry nights and so on that we do is so important. And there is so much growth down here, and it's really awesome to work with people who want to look after each other. Like everyone's got each other's back, so it's really good. And as you can see, the South Coast is booming. That's why people come down, because they know that it just all works. It's like a hidden highway, right? You don't really, you can't see the pathway, but it's just driving you towards the right destination. So that's what the South Coast does really, really well.
Boomtown.
So...
Well, mate, do you want to walk us? Walk us.
Where did that come from? Boomtown. I almost feel like we need to put a little. Henry doesn't know where it goes. He just picks up his wine and sips on it and just goes on shaking his head.
My kids love cars at the moment. So that little town. I don't even know what the town's called. I call it Boomtown. bit of paradise off far away. Love it. But I would love to actually do a little bit of like a deep dive into like the type of like services and packages like that you actually offer. So like, yes, it's a bar, like you offer cocktails, obviously. Like what do those like cocktail packages look like? Coffee, things like that. Do couples get to choose like a range of different cocktails? Like what does that typically look like?
It's a good question, and I guess if you've been to our tastings, and that's what we're trying to work on better, to communicate to brides and grooms, I guess, about our packages. And we're forever growing. Like our website right now is outdated. We're getting it fixed as we speak. Our brochures are continually getting outdated because we're forever changing for the bride and groom, or bride, groom, whoever's getting married. It doesn't really matter, but like it's forever changing. So we're still like we're trying to make it as simple for whoever is reading it, because it changes. For example, I guess you can get us for just service. You can have us just for service. You can provide all your own alcohol. We don't usually allow people to bring their cocktail gear and then we make the cocktails, just because we're so proud about how good we are at making cocktails and making sure they're good.
Who would tell
We
you
don't
how to
want
make a cocktail?
for them. Oh, there's plenty of people. Like, there's plenty of people. But sometimes you go, yep, happy days. You bring the cocktail gear, and they'll forget lemon juice or lime juice for a margarita, and you're stuck there with just tequila and Contro or tequila and triple sec, whatever it is, and you're going, well, there's 200 margies gone. You can't do anything, and you're stuck somewhere which is an hour and a half away until the nearest shop. So we're very strict on that one. That's probably the most strict. So you can get us for service. You can get us for service and alcohol. And our alcohol packages have taken off so quickly. When we first started, we were just doing service. So now we're doing alcohol packages as well, and it's like a one-stop shop. But it's a one-stop shop which will beat pretty much anyone else's prices and the way that we do it as well. So we started out with Dan Murphy's, and we were creating our own packages, and then Dan Murphy's quickly turned around and they go, who are these guys? Who's Henry and Clive? Or Henry Clive or Henry? And we're spending this amount of money at Dan Murphy's to build these packages. So then they started to do a deal with us, but we quickly sort of overtook what they could give us. So in terms of their product and so on as well, like they were running out left, right and centre. So it would look pretty bad. You're a bride or groom, bride, groom, whatever it is, and you make that decision to choose that alcohol package, and then we come back to you and we go, oh, sorry, it's not there because Dan Murphy's didn't have it available or they were running out of stock. So we quickly had to nip that one in the butt and make our own packages where we got consistent product, from wherever we get it, to make sure we don't run out of those packages, because you take 3 months, 2 months, whatever it is, to finally decide a package and they were running out. But we've got the same concept, except for we deliver it for free. We do the buyback. Even if it's cold, we still take it back because we've got a fridge at our warehouse, so that's fine. We can just put it straight into that cool room. So then people aren't left with all this leftover alcohol. So we're a little bit more lenient than other people as well, and we come at great prices, like $30, $35, $39 as well. So which is really cheap. So that's the alcohol. That's service, the alcohol, and then the cocktails on top of that. So you can have cocktails at your wedding. Have you guys had our cocktails? What do you reckon?
I actually haven't had your cocktails. I always just go straight for the
Really?
beers. I think I might have to. Now.
Tim always gets a bit nervous. He's going to get too rowdy and won't be able to get off the cocktails and then not be able to drive home.
Don't get me started with one cocktail. No, I always feel like
I definitely have had one. I've definitely had, I typically go for the old espresso martini, purely just because it's a good little pick-me-up in the afternoon. I'm all about it.
Good cocktail.
Yeah, it's the go-to.
Good cocktail.
But Tim, I interrupted you, Tim. What were you going to say, mate? I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. I'm used to it.
He's sitting there looking defeated.
I'm typically handheld, right? Handheld as a videographer on the day. Sometimes I feel a bit awkward having a cocktail. A beer's all right. I don't know about you, Matt, but sometimes just picking up a cocktail, sipping on a cocktail as I'm trying to take videos
trying to work.
And work. Yeah.
Yeah,
it can come across as a weird look. I know what you mean.
Yeah, sometimes it's always this weird position as well for photo and video people that are working. It's oh, you're here to work, not to drink, and then but then you also want to bring the vibe. And people I've definitely had people recently say, oh, you can have a drink with us. It's becoming more and more common. I feel like,
Yeah, I think most of our couples don't mind whatsoever. And I'll always have a beer at a wedding. Unless I pick up it's strange vibes, but I think most people actually feel more comfortable when you getting in on the party with them, actually having a drink with them.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. Got to read the room. Always read the room.
That's it. It was so funny. I was telling Henry the other day when we were together at that vendor night, and there was a wedding you had, and you were making cocktails, and I wanted to get this one shot, and everything was going on, candid moments everywhere. I'm just standing in the background, and I wanted someone who was waiting for a cocktail, in the foreground, and I wanted Henry in the background pouring it, and he's sitting there talking, and then he pours I was focusing on this one glass, and he's he waits till the last minute. I swear I was there for 3 minutes trying to get this one shot, but I got it and then made it into the video. I've talked it up now, so I'm gonna have to show you the video. But
Yeah. I said to you, Tim. I said, Tim, if you ever need a shot, just let me know and I'll make it happen.
you were talking
You're too
to
kind.
someone,
You're too
and then
kind.
you're like, "Oh, do you need a shot, mate?" I was like, "It's ruined now. It's all good."
Yeah, 10 minutes ago I did.
Yeah.
Oh,
To
that's
be
a
fair,
classic.
I knew you were waiting, and I was just going to let you wait
Yeah,
a little
I
bit longer.
I'll just have to do that every
Just
time.
test out those guns. So obviously like, we've gotten very sidetracked and we were getting onto the point of you obviously offer cocktails too, right? So tell us a little bit about them because I know obviously we've spoken a lot about cocktails and you're very passionate about the old cocktail.
Yeah, definitely. And I think this comes in as the last piece because, you know, typically weddings don't usually have cocktails. If we go to our parents, they weren't having cocktails at their wedding. It was just beer, wine, that's it, and so on as well. But now cocktails are coming in, but, you know, they come at a price point where people think they're unaffordable. So, and when I say about that, you go out, you might have a cocktail and it might cost you $20 to $25 if you're in Sydney, maybe 18 to 20 if you're down on the south coast. So people go automatically cocktails expensive. But cocktails aren't expensive when you get them from us. We understand that you're going to buy, you know, we know the quality's there, but you're going to buy quantity. So we actually charge our cocktails out at, I forget our Aperol spritzers, they're a little bit less, but $9.50 for a normal cocktail. So if you think about that, you go to a bar and you pay $9.50 for a cocktail, it's happy hour all the time, you know? And we want to make sure at weddings it is happy hour in that sense as well. We're not there to screw you down, take all your money. We're there to make sure that you can have fun and it is affordable. So we've got a couple of different choices in terms of a cocktail. We've got heaps of cocktails, but the different choices are you can pay for, you know, 100, say if you've got 100 guests, you can pay for 100 cocktails and then everyone goes back to beer and wine, happy days. Or you can do a Henry Clive package where you can get 3 different cocktails for $22. So I think it works out. So $9.50 plus $9.50 is $19, and then you get the next one for $3, you know, the cocktail. So it works out pretty cheap. Then there's also the last package if you've reached your budget, but you know that you've got some friends who want cocktails, but you don't want to put any tabs on, then we can actually bring a square, and your guests can pay per cocktail as well. And we've noticed that's been super popular. Like in the last year, we've noticed that from 10% of weddings doing that, it's gone up to like 50-60% of weddings. So we want to make sure weddings aren't a big stress ball, that they're affordable, and there's different packages for you to make sure that you've got those options if you want to have those options as well.
How good's that? Because there's actually a couple of like stories that come to mind where either somewhere out west, or like one that comes to mind is we had a wedding up at Warrombi in the Hunter Valley, and like middle of nowhere, like marquee wedding outside like someone's property. It was like 40-50 acres, and they ran out of alcohol basically, and the nearest place was like an hour away, like pretty crazy. And like that's happened to like situations like that where it's happened a couple of times, and it may not just be like alcohol in general. It could just be like, all right, you've run out of cocktails. But do you find you stock up like more than enough like on a wedding day to like account for that like situation?
Yeah. So back to our alcohol packages, like it's really good. We've made our alcohol packages so like eventually you'll run out of something, right? You might run out of bubbles if everyone's going to drink off of bubbles. You might run out of a certain beer because everyone loves that certain beer, but you won't run out of alcohol. There hasn't been a wedding where we've ran out of alcohol in general. There's been some weddings where you go sort of like close, where you've only got maybe 3 items left, but you've got 5 cases of those 3 items. So you've got 5 cases of that beer, 5 cases of that Sauvignon Blanc, or 5 cases of that Moscato. So that's where we see it as a close call in terms of losing the amount of choices. But don't worry if you run out of that bubbles, or what we say is your guests better than what we do. So if your guests like to drink bubbles, you can have more bubbles and we'll take off more Sauvignon Blanc or whatever it is. So we can alter the alcohol packages to suit your guests because you know them better than us.
Absolutely.
So yeah, like I don't think there's been many weddings that we haven't had a buyback. So we offer buyback, right? So if you've got cases which aren't opened, in a case of 24 for beer, or a case of 6 for wine, then we buy that back. But there hasn't been like, we've done heaps of buybacks. There's only been a couple of times where people are like, actually, nah, it's coming up to Christmas, or it's my birthday coming up, so I'll keep that alcohol and we'll use it there. So that's good, and it's peace of mind. Like, the reason why we've gone back again to our partnerships with who we work with in terms of who we buy from is because we get better bang for our buck, but we also get more for it as well. But we don't just take that more for us, we take that more and we split it. We go, okay, well, more for packages and a little bit more for us. So, yeah, because we know if you run out of alcohol, that's a worse for you, and we
that's a bad time.
It's your one job.
Yeah, I know.
It's your one job, Henry.
So, what do you do? You just stand around. Yeah, we're a bar with no alcohol in the bar. You fucked.
I do have a fridge in my car, in my ute, and I've always got a sneaky couple of beers and a bottle of champagne for an emergency.
So if you ever need it, Tim's got
where's your car?
Don't ask me the price.
So I guess talking about all of these things, I was thinking, like, do you is spirits now, like, and when I mean spirits, I mean like standalone spirits, is that something you guys are doing? Is it like something that's just not so trendy anymore? What's the go with that?
It's coming. It varies. It goes in waves. Like, you guys would see your waves in terms of videography and photography, right? In terms of what people want in packages and so on as well. With spirits, we try to tell whoever's getting married to do it after dinner, because prior to dinner, like if they do it the whole way through the wedding, people are going to be sloshed. Like, they are going to be sloshed, and we try and allow our RSA to go to certain points because it is wedding and people are family and friends and so on as well. But there is a time that we do have to hone down, because if they start wrecking the venue or treating the vendors, mean, or it just causes all this problem. So we say during periods at the start, do the free spirits, but usually after dinner when everyone goes to the dance floor. So yeah, it's starting to come back in, but it's there, but it's not really there. Like, if people can pay for the spirits, and it might cost them $5 for a spirit, right? In terms of if they bought the alcohol and did the spirit, or they could pay an extra $4 and they get a proper cocktail which has 2 shots in it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
definitely been seeing the cocktails coming out a lot more, especially towards that dance floor kind of vibes. Like, I know you guys have been splitting them up as well. Like, obviously people have different packages, but recently I've definitely been seeing those, the cocktails back out around post first dance when the dance floor's on. It's always a bit of a vibe, watching people crowding around the bar. I'm like, where did everyone go? And they're all like standing there getting their hands on those cocktails you guys have already got pre-prepared, which is pretty bloody awesome.
It's almost a bit of a trend at the moment, isn't it, as well? Like, I'm seeing a lot more like cocktails at weddings, and it's just fun. Like, it's just a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
But on the topic of trends, what are some of like your favorite trends at the moment?
Whoa, I've got to say, espresso martini towers and the slushy machine when it's hot. The slushy machine when it's hot and it's like, the sun is beaming and you've got that at the start, and you go, we can make strawberry daiquiris, we can, mango daiquiris, so many different varieties of cocktails we can make out of that slushy machine, and it's really cool. But the one which sort of gets my heart is the espresso martini towers. Like, we just did a wedding last weekend at the Cove, and the bride and groom walked down after they got married, walked down and did their espresso martini tower, and that's how they got the party started. So it was pretty wicked. Like, it was pretty crazy. It had Jimmy Van singing, so you can imagine Jimmy Van, lead singer of the Vans, and he's singing, and they've got this espresso tower ready to go. And it adds a different attraction to the wedding. Like, it depends what you want to do at your wedding. You can have a traditional, that's fine, or you can have whatever you want with a little bit of spin to it. So I think the trends for us is the espresso martini towers, slushy machines, and also champagne towers. So I forgot that because we've done fucking so many that it seems like it's just automatic.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask Matt, Matt, what's probably your favorite trend at the moment, on the topic of alcohol?
Yeah, I feel like the espresso one is pretty awesome. I remember, I feel like this probably goes to, obviously going with the what's the word I'm trying to think? Champagne towers as well. Had this mind blank of so much alcohol in my brain. But yeah, like I guess when you're like comparing like the champagne or the espresso, regardless, I just have this like very vivid memory of you, Henry. I don't know whose wedding it was, but it was fairly recently.
Yes.
Yeah, it must have been Sophie and Matt's. And Henry is like,
hold it.
They've done the same vibe. Yeah, walk down the aisle, like they're ready to go to pour their champagne tower, and Henry's like, there's not enough people around watching them, and he's like standing in the middle, and he's like, everybody, and he's like yelling, and I'm like, this is a different, yeah. I'm like, this is a different type of service where, like, you know, like the Henry Clive service is like getting people involved, encouraging the party, encouraging a good time, you know, like, and I feel like that trend of like, you know, maybe it is having these towers, but like not maybe the tower itself, but the trend of everybody getting in there, everyone being included, everybody like really knowing that like this can go any way we want it to go tonight, and like, you know, this is the start of your night. So it may not be a specific trend, but just maybe the vibe that people are going for these days of like, you know, we don't have to do the traditional thing.
I couldn't agree
if you've listened
more.
to the podcast, you know that.
I could not agree more. So that was probably like a moment at a wedding where I'm like, this is actually like a game changer, because like, yes, it was a champagne like tower that was set up like 20 meters from where the couple had their ceremony, but like not enough people were there. It was just amazing. Like Henry, you got everyone there, like you got them down. You're like, all right, this is what we're going to do. We want you to go wild. And the first time they did it, they weren't loud enough. And you're like, no, like, let's bring it up a level.
More energy.
And then it just like that canapé hour like was going off. Like everyone went straight for a drink. Everyone was having a good time. Like I felt like that canapé hour was like just another level. Like the bride and groom, like shout out Sophie and Matt, sorry, they were absolute legends. They could not stop raving about it, and I felt like they were even in like a different level of a mood as well. Like it just brought such a good like environment. I'm like, yeah, this is something that actually most couples should aim for as well. And that's probably like what drove us to like talking about canapé hour so much and the significance of that like on a wedding day.
Yeah, it's important, and I think you know, our role is more than just a bar. You know, I think you know, we are there to get the party started. But you think about weddings, right? And hopefully you only get married once. Like hopefully, right?
I wouldn't mind another party, to be honest. I'm so glad my wife does not listen to this. I
was going to say, I was like, should you be saying this, Tim? Like, you're not saying you don't want to get, you don't want to be married. She might want to have another party. Vow renewal.
Maybe she might actually listen to this one.
I'm going to message her.
Actually listen to this one.
I'm going to message her and tell her. I'm going to tell her too.
Yeah.
Just go to 40 minutes in and have a listen to Tim throwing himself under the bus.
But yeah, weddings are special, and we all know that. And you know, there's a reason why we do what we do, because you get the hype when you're at a wedding, right? And you're like, shit, this is fucking good, like, you know. And you know, it's really important to make those relationships and those connections at the start, not just with the bride and groom, but with their family and friends. And you know, one thing is so funny is like, oh yeah, I know the bride and groom. And I'm like, yep, that's because you got invited. You know, that's like, it's funny because like, you know, you've got everyone who means the world to these people there. So you want to get the ball rolling. You want to make sure it's fun. You want to make sure it's interesting as well. But you're obviously not stepping over the line. It's not your show, but you want to get the show going.
Absolutely. And I feel like if you've listened to any of our episodes along the way of this podcast, or like in general, like, you know, we've always been trying to, you know, like really instill the confidence to know that there is like, you know, not every way has to be done, like not every wedding has to be done the same way, I guess is what we're trying to say, you know, like there are opportunities to do things differently. And I always ask most of my couples, like, you know, if there's something you're thinking, like when you're like planning your wedding day in your early stages, like, is there anything that you think is unachievable that you would really love to do? Like, you know, what is it? And like, so I guess my mind goes back to when I think about these things, like what you were saying earlier, like, you know, most people think cocktails are unachievable, you know, and really like the way you've painted that picture for us today, like they are achievable. maybe it comes down to as simple as asking a question and asking how much, it's going to cost us, or maybe just throwing out an idea, being like, hey, I would love to do this at my wedding. Can I do it? Maybe someone wants to do a marg tower. We haven't seen one of them. I've never done a margarita tower, but maybe that's something that's going to happen.
We actually just got an inquiry about that. We've done, it's funny that you say that, because now people seeing espresso towers, they're like, I want a French martini tower, I want a margarita tower, I want all these other things as well. And we're like, you know what? Let's do it. Why not? Let's
opportunities are endless. Maybe just maybe paint a picture really quickly for us, because I know that like when we're thinking like, espresso martinis and marg towers and stuff, people are like, it's very different to what... Wastage. Yeah, and it's very different to also like what we normally do with like a champagne tower, where you can free pour the bottle of champagne that is already there pre-done, if that makes sense, like in. Yeah. How do you guys normally set up your champagne, your cocktail? Let's call it the cocktail tower, because there's opportunities are endless, right? So with the cocktail towers, how do you normally set them up? Because you obviously don't make like a 5 liters of cocktail just ready to pour into the top, right?
No. So I guess, and this comes back to our process of how we make cocktails at larger amounts as well. So, I remember doing a wedding at Seacliff, and we pumped out 400 cocktails, 400 margies in 30 minutes. And that's like, pretty crazy. You think that's impressive.
Just 400.
But it's not premix, so we don't use premix. So everything's like fresh in terms of a product. So a tequila is tequila, a lime juice is the lime juice, and a triple sec is a triple sec. But what we do is we have biodegradable cups, and we pre-pour them into there, and then we get ready to go. Then we pour it straight into a shaker with some ice, shake, bake, make. Simple as that. So the same thing in terms of our cocktail towers. We will do all except for the top one, and we will put it into the cocktail shaker for, whoever's getting married, and they'll shake it, and then they'll pour.
That's so good. Good. I feel like as a bride, a groom, like a couple, like if you're listening to this and you're like, this sounds like fucking awesome. Like I want to do that, but there may be like a slight disconnect, because like perhaps a couple may book like you guys to create cocktails, but they may not like be there for the full canapé hour to actually enjoy that. And it's actually something that we spoke about a couple of weeks ago. And Matt and I were like, well, here are the reasons why like you need to like think about like what is important on your day. Like, and we don't have to go off for an hour, 2 hours to get photos and videos. We want to ask the question, like, what is important to you guys? Like if you want to join canapé hour and you want to get there, and to me, I feel like it's a crime that if you're not there, if you're spending all this money on cocktails and you're spending all this money on the entertainment for that time and you're not there to enjoy it, like, what are you doing? Like, and I feel like this is like such like a good leeway into like just reevaluating. If you want to join, if you want to get to canapé hour, maybe just bring the ceremony back a touch. And I was telling Matt before, I got a message from like one of my couples that's like, we brought our ceremony back like 45 minutes just so we can like have an extra half an hour like during canapes, and like we wouldn't have like done that otherwise unless we listened to the podcast. And it's things like that just like provide us so much like joy that we're on the right track in elevating like your wedding day. And of course, like when we're talking about this, like it just sounds like so much fun, right? Like I want to be around canapé hour, like, and film the madness. Maybe next time I'll grab a cocktail.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think it's a really good point that you touched on, is because like I think it was like literally only a week ago, and called up a bride and chatting about her wedding, and she's like, I just feel like I didn't get to see you guys shake cocktails, and I was like, oh, where were you during that time? She's like, I was getting photos, and it's like, well, we can't do two things at once. We can't, when you want us to do cocktails, we're going to do cocktails. We can't like try and slow it down. Your guests are going to drink them. They're like little baby lions in Africa, like go and eat meat. And literally, that's what your guests are like. So this bride,
Henry's next bar, African theme, like leopard skin.
Are you gonna rebrand with some baby lions sitting around a cocktail mug?
Thinking about it. But and like the bride was like, oh yeah, we didn't get to see all that, and it's like, well, you got to make the choice what suits you best for your wedding, right? So if you want to be away getting photos or videography, whatever it is, right? You got to know that the show still goes on, and we can't slow the show down, because as soon as you start slowing it down, then you've got all this momentum and it's not who we are. Like we want to get it going from the get go. So I think it's really important that you do take that time to be there for cocktail hour. Like Sarah and I, when we get married, we're like, no, cocktail hour is going to be our thing. That's going to be our jam.
Yeah, and it is possible.
It's very common. It's common though. Like most people are saying very similar things to you, and I think that's why we were super keen to do that episode a few weeks ago, just to kind of like chat about that and say like, hey, it is possible, and these are the steps you need to do to be able to get to that hour. Half an hour, however long it goes for. Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing, is like there is opportunity to do it. You just need to probably take that into account early on in your planning.
Yeah. So maybe reiterate that. So taking it on early on in your planning. So assuming that you want to get to cocktail hour, this is something that you need to coordinate with your celebrant, with your ceremony, with your photographer, videographer, or your vendors to make sure that you're not cutting away time away from getting photos and videos and making sure that you get that done. It's just ensuring that you're doing it in an efficient time where you can also enjoy canapes as well. And perhaps the light is better later on after canapes rather than before. So maybe you're just swapping time out between two places, but it just makes sense to look at what you want and take this into account so you can incorporate this into your planning.
Yeah, I agree. So if you want photos the whole time, go for it, 100%, but you can't have both. You can't be going out and getting photos and then be there at the cocktail canapé hour getting all the cocktails. I mean, you can get photos there at the cocktail canapé,
and they're amazing too. Like that, those candid moments are so good.
They're authentic, and that's what you want. You want your authentic self, and you go, fuck, that's when I was actually really, really happy in that moment. That's the reason why I got married. I was around my family, my friends, and I was with my partner. That's the shots that I want,
And everyone's bloody excited. Everyone's got I call it the woohoo time, the woohoo girls, Everyone's high on energy. Everyone's got a bit of adrenaline. There's probably been a few people crying, happy tears and things like that previous to that. So, you want to have take that opportunity to take all those moments in, which, I am a massive fan of, and I know Tim is too. Mate, I want to ask a question of is there I feel like this whole episode has been golden nuggets from you, and which we're all about the golden nuggets. We love it. But is there any specific tips or I guess just things in general that you could give your couples, I guess not your couples, but couples in general planning their wedding when it comes to alcohol, etc.?
Yeah, I think just trust us. We're not there to rip you off. If you compare our packages against a lot of other packages in terms of alcohol, cocktails, everything, they're going to be the same price, if not less. Where else can you get $9.50 cocktails? And our packages, if you put it up against, Dan Murphy's and so on as well, you're going to have to go pick it up, take it to the wedding venue, and then any buyback you're going to have to take back. Whereas we sort all of that out, and you don't realise how effective it is until you don't have to break your back and we're breaking our backs for you. So I think just trust, because there hasn't been anyone sort of doing this in the past in terms of a bar like us, a solo sort of business, wedding venues and stuff, when they've got the in-house bar, they handle it themselves, but no one else sort of doing it what we do. So, we're creating this different pathway. But, we want to make sure it's a fun time for you, and you can see why people are starting to trust us now. We've got 170 5-star reviews, and no more than 5-star reviews. So people are going, okay, cool, these guys are actually the real deal. And obviously that comes with expectations now. So people are starting to hear about us and so on as well. We're not just those local South Coast boys anymore. So but I just want you to have fun at your wedding. I think the ones where they have gone wrong, they've their expectations are too high. But if you keep it, the expectations in terms of you want to marry the love of your life and you want to be there with your family and friends, that's it, and the rest will flow. Trust in the vendors to do
you're providing an experience, and that experience goes far beyond just the price of your service. 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
love it.
It's funny. Sorry, just one last part.
Tell me.
Drop those golden nuggets.
Keep these nuggets coming, mate. We're all about it.
I think it's really important. Like, a lot of people leading up to it, like, oh, why am I paying this for a bar? But then when they actually do it afterwards, the groom, he was like, you know what, you're worth double. And like, not saying that we should be charging double, but just trust that flow. Same thing with
Yeah, 100%. Like, there's $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 photographers and videographers, but like, if you want something like that, then fine. That's on you. But like, if you want an experience, like if you want something that's gonna be far greater, like than like what we can probably offer for something in that range, then of course, like, go with those that are going to provide an experience that you're going to be so immensely proud of.
So good, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on today. I think maybe before we jump off, maybe just tell us, like, obviously you said before there's a bit of a rebrand coming. Is there anything else that's happening in the world of Henry and Clive that you want to share with us? What's next for, I guess, you guys as a company?
Good question. Lots happening. Lots and lots happening.
Always.
Yeah. I think, for us, we just want to... We've got the ball rolling. The ball's rolling pretty quickly at the moment as well. And it's not about slowing the ball down. It's just about making sure that the pathway that the ball's going on has more structure operationally for us as well. So then it's a better operation in all. Putting in all these, I guess, from a back end of things, putting in different procedures and so on how we do things to make it easier for our team, which will then be easier for the team to give it best as well. So lots happening in that. But yeah, it's hard. He doesn't want.
No too many golden nuggets here, guys. No, it's and you know what I love about that is that, like, me and Tim are massive on workflows, and we're massive on, like, giving our clients like a high experience. And so by you guys prioritizing the back end of the business and by you guys working on that, it's really going to like elevate the experience for all of your couples that are booking you guys. And if that's happening, like, you're helping elevate the wedding industry on a whole for everybody that's involved, and that is bloody awesome. And I me and Tim are exactly the same. We have a whole lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that we're like, oh, it's too soon to tell them, we really, and we bite our tongue a lot. And so I totally get it, mate. And we don't want you to share all your secrets, but yeah, but that little personal jinx there, boys. But I absolutely love where you guys are going with it all, and you guys are absolutely killing it, and we are massive fans of what you are doing.
Do you know what? We're just trying to make it epic.
that's twice now.
On brand.
I love this guy.
We'll just get you back on so you can just keep doing on brand quotes for us. That'd be great.
We might drop one little bean for you. We're getting some stickers made up, some Make It Epic stickers. So we'll have to throw them on the bar next time.
Yeah,
all on the bars, all on the vans.
Yeah, we'll just come and sticker bomb everything. Rebranded to Make It Epic Wedding Podcast.
Mate, well, thank you so much for jumping on. It's been a while. We've been trying to get you on for a bit, but we're so glad we can finally get you on. And mate, it has been our absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast, and I hope to do it again.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, guys. Thanks,
mate. Take care. Thank you so much. Till next time. See you guys. Bye.
Bye.
So, mate, with how many weddings that we've done, how many times have you just seen like an epic like confetti exit, or just like cool fluffy slippers and cool robes and just like different like biodegradable confetti, and you don't know where to get them from?
Every single
wedding.
See it every wedding. Every wedding we see this.
Well, we might be able to help you with that. If you are looking for biodegradable confetti, if you're looking for long sparklers, if you're looking for fluffy slippers, confetti cone trays.
I love floppy slippers. Give me some floppy slippers.
And all the things like that can help you on your wedding day, just to like elevate that experience a little bit, and just make it easy to get a lot of these things from one place, right? And it's hard to find somewhere that's just, easy to purchase online, get it sent to you, don't have to think about anywhere else, don't have to search anywhere else. You can just listen to this, take a special code, get 15% off, and then boom, these products arrive at your door.
What a dream. How good. So if that sounds like something for you, The Whole Bride is definitely a place you should be checking out. And we have a special promo code for you guys. It is EPIC15. If you go to the show notes, you click that link and then chuck it into your shopping cart at the end, you will receive 15% off just from us, from the Make It Epic Wedding podcast, which is a just little treat for you guys listening.
50% off. Got to love that.